Breaking news tonight. Tensions are rising in the Caribbean after reports of a dangerous naval encounter between a US Navy destroyer and a Venezuelan patrol vessel during a counter-drug operation. Officials say the situation is being closely monitored. At 5:22 a.m. local time, the ocean looked calm. Flat water, clear sky, no warning signs. Then everything changed. In international waters, a Venezuelan patrol ship made a sharp turn and opened fire. Muzzle flashes cut through the early light as a 76mm gun sent shells across roughly 3/4 of a mile of open sea. The rounds were aimed at the USS Gravely, a US Navy warship moving at about 20 knots on a routine patrol route. Instead of breaking away, the Venezuelan vessel angled straight toward Gravely's path. This was not a drift, this was a decision. Inside Gravely, alarms sounded, radar contacts tightened. The bridge called down to combat. Distance closed fast, procedures kicked in without hesitation. Emissions were reduced, the shooter was tracked. Close defense was prepared. Sailors moved with practiced speed as seconds slipped by. This was not confusion at sea. It was a calculated move in one of the most sensitive corridors in the Caribbean, a place where every maneuver sends a signal. Steel was doing the talking. What the Venezuelan crew did not know yet was simple. They expected a close encounter where surprise might save them. They had no idea they were pushing the wrong ship at the worst possible moment. This encounter was not random, and it did not happen just anywhere. The Caribbean is one of the most watched stretches of water on the planet. Every day, US Navy ships move through this region to support counter-drug operations that protect the American mainland. These sea lanes are narrow, crowded, and close to multiple coastlines. That makes them perfect for pressure tactics, where a small move can send a big signal. For Venezuela, this area is not just water. It is leverage. Operating close to home allows patrol vessels to move fast, hide behind island chains, and test how far they can push without triggering a full response. Firing near a US Navy destroyer in international waters is not about winning a fight. It is about probing limits, measuring reaction time, and showing presence in front of both domestic and foreign audiences. For the sailors aboard USS Gravely, the meaning is much simpler. This is not about politics or headlines. This is about being woken by alarms, watching a contact turn hostile, and knowing that a wrong move could turn steel into fire. In moments like this, training replaces thought. Hands move, screens update, voices stay calm even when heart rates climb. This is why incidents like this matter more than they appear. A single patrol ship can force decisions that ripple far beyond the horizon. One aggressive move can change patrol patterns, shift regional posture, and raise the risk for every ship that follows. What looks small on a map feels very different when you are standing watch, staring at a closing contact over open water. As this standoff unfolds, one question sits at the center of it all. Was this a warning from Venezuela, or a miscalculation that pushed too far? If you think the move was justified, press 9. If you believe it crossed a dangerous line, press 1. And subscribe to stay with us as this situation continues. The first response did not begin with a missile. It began with a screen. On the main radar display inside USS Gravely, a single contact shifted color. Green to yellow, yellow to red. That change meant one thing. Someone on the other ship had made a real choice. A technician leaned closer to the console. The track tightened. Speed, heading, distance, all refreshed at once, less than a mile now. The bridge confirmed visual flashes off the bow. Incoming rounds were splashing wide, but close enough to be felt through the hull. The sound was sharp and fast, metal tearing through air, then water erupting just off the ship's side. Inside the combat center, no one shouted. There was no rush. The officer of the watch spoke clearly. Track confirmed. Defensive posture set. The words were short, practiced, and calm. Hands moved across panels. Switches flipped. Systems came alive in layers, each one backing up the next. Gravely reduced what it showed to the outside world. Its electronic profile shrank. To the enemy, the destroyer no longer looked like a 9,000-ton warship. It looked smaller, quieter, harder to lock onto. At the same time, the ship's close-in defenses aligned. The automated gun system rotated smoothly, following the threat without firing. Not yet. On the Venezuelan patrol vessel, the crew believed they were forcing the fight closer. Their gun continued to bark, the rhythm steady, the intent clear. They wanted pressure. They wanted confusion. They wanted the US ship to react too fast. But what they could not see was how the picture looked from Gravely's side. Every movement was being tracked. Every burst was logged. The distance was still shrinking, but the balance was already shifting. The first exchange had answered one question clearly. This was not a warning shot that would fade into radio calls and reports. This was a real encounter, and both crews now understood that the next decision would shape everything that followed. The encounter did not slow down. It tightened. The Venezuelan patrol vessel pushed closer, cutting across the water at an aggressive angle, trying to force the fight into short range. At this distance, every small turn mattered. A few degrees could decide whether steel met steel or slipped past by yards. On board USS Gravely, the sea went quiet again. No explosions, no shouting, just the low hum of machinery and the sound of waves against the hull. That silence was deceptive. It meant systems were working, not waiting. Then a new problem appeared. Navigation data began to wobble. Positions drifted slightly off where they should be. The ship was still moving clean and steady, but something was interfering. Near the coast and island chain ahead, a localized jamming signal had come alive. It did not shut systems down, it made them less certain. In close combat, uncertainty is dangerous. Almost at the same moment, multiple small contacts popped up on the screen. Not one, not two, dozens, low, fast, and scattered. Small drones lifted from nearby islands and rushed toward the ship. They were cheap, simple, and hard to track. Each one forced attention. Each one demanded a response. This was pressure by design. The goal was not to overwhelm with power, but to stretch defenses thin. Make the destroyer watch the drones. Make it worry about jamming. Keep it focused forward while the patrol vessel stayed close and threatening. On Gravely, the response stayed controlled. The ship adjusted speed and heading slightly, creating space without turning away completely. To an outside observer, it looked like hesitation. To trained eyes, it looked like setup. No one celebrated. No one relaxed. Fatigue crept in as minutes felt longer than they were. Every sailor understood the risk. Cheap drones could still cause damage. A single lucky hit could injure crew or disable equipment. And this was the moment where everything balanced on intent. Was Venezuela ready to push even closer, or would they pull back now that the line had been crossed? If you believe this escalation was a calculated move by Venezuela, press 9. If you think they misjudged us, resolve, and push too far, press 1. And subscribe to stay with us as this confrontation moves toward its turning point. This was the moment Venezuela believed the balance had finally tipped. The drones kept coming, scattered and fast, forcing eyes and sensors to split in different directions. The jamming near the islands continued to blur positions just enough to create doubt. Up close, the patrol vessel pressed on, confident that the fight had been dragged into a range where size and distance no longer mattered. From the outside, the US destroyer appeared to hesitate. Its course shifted slightly away from the threat. The gap between the ships opened by a small margin. To the Venezuelan crew, it looked like pressure was working. The message seemed clear. Push harder, and the larger ship would give ground. But that movement was not retreat, it was spacing. Every turn was deliberate, measured, and timed. The destroyer was not trying to escape the fight. It was changing where the fight would be decided. What no one on the Venezuelan side could see was how the picture looked beyond the horizon. The drones were loud and obvious, pulling attention forward. The jamming was focused near the coast, and the patrol vessel, eager to keep contact, followed the bait just a little farther from its comfort zone. Inside the ship, the mood did not change. No cheers, no raised voices, just confirmation after confirmation. Distance increasing, angles improving, the kind of quiet that comes when a plan starts to line up. This was the twist. The threat everyone could see was not the real danger. The real move was invisible, unfolding farther out, where the patrol vessel had no eyes and no reach. The Venezuelan crew believed they were controlling the moment. They believed the destroyer was reacting to them. They did not know they had already stepped into a space where the next decision would not be theirs. If you think this was a smart trap by Venezuela, press 9. If you believe the US just turned the tables, press 1. And subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. The moment did not arrive with shouting or drama. It came with a short order, spoken evenly over the internal net. Change course. Engage. That was all. On board USS Gravely, the ship completed its turn. The distance to the patrol vessel was now greater than it had been minutes before, but the danger had not faded. The drones were still inbound. The jamming was still active. Yet the balance had shifted. Deep inside the ship, a system that had been waiting quietly moved to the front of the fight. A missile left its cell in a flash of fire and smoke, climbing hard into the sky before leveling out over the sea. It did not chase noise. It did not rely on outside signals. It followed its own path, guided by the ship that launched it. For the Venezuelan patrol vessel, there was no warning tone, no dramatic countdown. One moment, systems were working. The next, they were not. The first strike hit high, tearing through sensors and control equipment. Screens went dark. Communication faltered. Orders stopped flowing. The ship was still afloat, but it was suddenly blind. Seconds later, the second impact came. This one struck deeper. The force shuddered through the hull. Power dropped. Speed bled away. What had been an aggressive advance turned into a drifting silhouette on open water. The drones did not stop. Without guidance, they continued forward, small shapes racing low over the waves. This was the last test. Gravely's close defense answered immediately. The automated gun roared to life, its sound steady and mechanical. Bursts of fire stitched across the air. One drone vanished, then another, until the screen cleared. Silence returned, broken only by the ocean and the steady rhythm of the ship. No cheering followed. No celebration. Just confirmation. Threats neutralized. Ship secure. Crew safe. The fight had ended, but the message had already traveled far beyond the horizon. What began as a close-range challenge had been decided at a distance the patrol vessel could never control. As the sun climbed higher over the Caribbean, the water settled back into its usual calm. The Venezuelan patrol vessel was no longer advancing. It sat damaged and drifting, its earlier aggression reduced to silence. The drones were gone, the jamming signal faded, and USS Gravely remained on station, operational and in control. There were no victory speeches on board. For the crew, this was not about winning headlines. It was about getting through the morning without losing anyone. Systems were checked, reports were filed, watches rotated. Life at sea moved forward, but with a sharper awareness of how close the moment had come. Beyond the ships involved, the impact was larger. Encounters like this do not stay local. Every navy in the region watches closely. Commanders take notes. Analysts adjust assumptions. One small patrol vessel forced a billion-dollar warship to reveal how it responds under pressure, and that information travels fast. The message was clear on both sides. For Venezuela, it showed how quickly an aggressive move can slip out of control. Close-range pressure and cheap systems can create danger, but they do not guarantee dominance. For the US Navy, it reinforced a different truth. Modern sea power is not about who fires first. It is about who sees farther, reacts faster, and chooses the moment of decision. This incident will likely change behavior in the days ahead. Patrol routes may shift, escorts may increase, rules of engagement may tighten. What looked like a single clash on a quiet morning becomes part of a much larger pattern of testing and response in the Caribbean. And that is the real takeaway. This was not the end of a story. It was a signal. A test run, a warning of how fast tension can rise when lines are pushed at sea. The next encounter may not allow time for hesitation, spacing, or restraint. If you believe this was a necessary show of strength by the US, press 1. If you think it risks a wider confrontation with Venezuela, press 9. And subscribe to stay with us as this situation continues to unfold. The sea looks calm again, but no one believes it will stay that way. both sides are now watching closer than before. One wrong move, one sudden order, and the next encounter could escalate faster than anyone expects.